Hello everyone, welcome back to Old Dad's Modeling Mess. And in today's video, I get a head start on one of my most complicated and ambitious builds to date. It's so ambitious that I had to modify, create a tool for this build. Yeah, just stick with me. As everyone knows, I love my T-34s, and just having that Airfix kit sitting over there staring at me, begging me to build it, it's been driving me crazy. So, since I have a couple of build videos, you know, the elephant and the panther pretty much done. They're almost ready to go. That's given me a little time to do some thinking. And, you know, me thinking really isn't always a good thing. Yeah, let's just go with that. So, with having all this extra time, I have decided to make myself question my life choices by coming up with a winter-themed diorama. Now, I know that doesn't sound too bad until you add in the cobblestone road, the stone fence, and either an old, damaged, or dilapidated house or a barn, you know, in a yard or a field if it's a barn, you know, and what the hell, why not throw a tree in there too, right? So yeah. Oh, also, just if that wasn't enough, I decided that I'm gonna be using some photo etch, some homemade photo etch stuff, you know, where I make clamps and straps and stuff like that with some leftover photo etch sprues. Oh, and the hell with it. I'll throw in some 3D printed parts too. Why not, right? Well, as you can see, those are my 3D printed tracks that I made a video on last week. And they're just so happens that they're for my T-34. And I wanted to try something different because, you know, you can do certain things with the rubber tracks and with the link and length and stuff like that. But I wanted to see just how detailed, I guess, I could get these. So I took my Dark Rust from Vallejo. It's in that rust weathering kit that they have, and I airbrushed them. You know, got the dark rust on there, and then what you're seeing me do right now is I'm finishing up the gunmetal dry brushing. I dry brushed all the edges of the cleats and stuff on the bottom of the tracks, and I'm just now finishing up where the road wheels and stuff go, and I'm just dry brushing it. I want to make sure that, you know, a little bit of that shine comes through, but not too much, because, you know, why not? And to add a little extra to this, I know that it's going to be a winter theme. You know, I'm kind of going for like the early winter type thing, so I've taken my Smart Mud and I put some water in it, and it seems to have like reconstituted. So I want to see if it's actually going to stick and work. At first here I started off with this little stick, and yeah, immediately that wasn't going to work. So I took an old that I think that was an 18-0, one of my really fine tip brushes that I ended up ruining, and I cut the tip off of it that was messed up. And so now it's a really stiff little brush, and it works really good to get in them small areas when I do my armor texturing and stuff. And for this here, it's actually working pretty good. And you know, I know it's, like I said, I know it's mud, but since I've already got the rusty color and the, the shiny gunmetal graphite look going on, I want to add some mud, and then later on, once I get more into the build and start doing all the snow stuff, I'll add the snow effects to it too. But I'm putting it on pretty much kind of uniformly, evenly, I guess, in odd areas and stuff like that. But I'm making sure to get both sides, kind of work it back and forth, zigzag it, because with these tracks here, in all honesty, it doesn't really matter which way they go on, but, I don't want to, like just crowd the edge that you see underneath the edge of the fender, because you don't see that back part. Just in case, I'm doing all of it that way there. It doesn't matter which way I put them on. You're still going to see the details and stuff like that. So that was the idea behind this. Plus, I really wanted to see if this stuff was going to stick. Spoiler alert, it does. And that makes me really, really super happy, because with that working, this stuff's like 3-ish something years old, so to get it working again, that just saved me $20, or going outside in the yard and digging up some dirt, which I have done before. But this worked, so I don't have to worry about that. And while I'm finishing this here up, I may as well get on to the part where I need to make my cobblestones. And I'm going to be using XPF foam for that. So I need some way to make a large number of them. And all I have is a old handheld hot wire cutter. So yeah, it was a little sketchy at first, because I didn't really want to tear it up, but I had to modify it and turn it into a bench top. So it's held there, and I can cut straight lines, or straight-ish lines, I should say. And I did that with my laser cutter and some 3mm plywood, and it seemed to, that part works great. But when I started to do some cuts, it dawned on me, I was like, oh, something's missing here, because I'm not cutting in a straight line. So then I had to go off and make a cutting guide. And that's what you're about to see now. Is this is sped up, if you can't tell by the big words on the screen there. I'm making a cutting guide that I can slide in there and clamp down and make whatever width or whatever it is that I want. Don't worry about all the smoke. It can't burn nothing, and it is being vented out, so we're all good there. It's all nice and safe. But yeah, I wanted to be able to get the cobblestones made this year, so I needed to be able to do something, with the wire cutter. And the best thing I could think of was to make a tabletop version. I didn't feel like spending $100 because, I'm kind of watching what I spend now because of my latest purchase. And if you guys want a hint, go watch Scale Model Geeks' latest video. But here's my little cutting guide here, and it's just simple. Put it together, and if you see there on the table, I've got my wire cutter there, and this here is going to slide in there, and then the two pieces that I just stood up there that I'm trying to attach that to right now, that plate there, those slide in between or around the part that goes up that holds the wire. And then that's the base, which allows me to, keep it on top of the table. You'll see, you'll understand here in just a second. So just testing it to make sure it fits, and there we go. That's the whole plan there. So now I can just take one of my little clamps and clamp it back there where my thumb is to hold it in place. And so now I've got, I think there's like 60 millimeters between the wire and the bottom of that, so I can go out pretty wide. So now I just need to glue it up, and I know you guys see some gaps there, and that is absolutely perfectly fine. It was actually a happy accident, because when I did it, I was off by like a degree or so when I was cutting it, and that gave me a chance to adjust it to make sure that the cutting guide is 90 degrees, as you'll see here in a second when I use my little speed square there, straight up and down with the bottom of the plate there. So now all I have to do is take my foam here and start cutting it out. But there we go. Square, square. Now it's time to start cutting some foam strips that I can turn into some cobblestones. But I got to try it out and mess around. So here's the first test shots here, of me testing it out, making sure everything works. And this is not sped up or anything like that. This is actual real time here. So, I'm going nice and smooth, nice and slow. It's working. I think that's probably like 2 millimeters there on width that I'm cutting. So, it's cutting pretty thin. And it's working fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut up a bunch of those, and then I need to make some cobblestones. But before I get to that, I got to be me, and I got to tinker around and see if it'll cut the other way. So here we go. And spoiler alert, it worked just like it was supposed to. So yeah, now you understand why this is kind of like my most complicated and most ambitious build to date, because I had to make stuff to actually start the build. The base plate for the diorama is going to be like 12 inches by 12 inches, something like that. And you'll see it here in just a little bit. And it's going to have like a third of it, the front of it, is going to be a cobblestone road. And then the back half is going to be built up a little bit. And that's where the stone wall and the field or yard or whatever it is going to be at. Now these are a bunch of the strips that I took, and now I got it set at like 1/4 of an inch. And so I'm just going to push these through, and by doing it this way here, doing it long ways, now all I have to do is turn that around sideways and cut it, and then now I've got me little 1/4 inch squares, which are perfect-ish sized cobblestones. None of this stuff is, scale. I'm just guessing on it. So yeah, it's kind of neat. I thought so anyway, and it works pretty damn good. Now if I take one of those little speed squares, it helps a lot by pushing the edge there, because if you watch this, you'll see that my fingers, or not my fingers, but the edge of the last piece of foam moves. As you guys seen earlier when I made my cutting guide here for my hot wire cutter, I made those strips, and this is what is left of those strips. I made me a bunch of small, medium, and large cobblestones. I went through, and as you can see here, I put them in a Tupperware bowl and threw some rocks in there, and I shook the shit out of them for a few minutes and got them dinged up a little bit, just knock the stuff off of them to make it look like they're cobblestones. So now what's going to happen, I'm going to take all those cobblestones and I'm going to make me a cobblestone road. At first I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know if this was going to be like a little town square part or whatever, but I'm leaning more towards this is going to be a cobblestone road, and I'm just sticking this in here for now. There's going to be a T-34 on it, and it's going to be driving down the road, and there's going to be a fence somewhere in here. I don't know which. I'm kind of leaning towards the shorter one here because it kind of looks more, I guess, in scale, because none of this is in scale. I just eyeballed every bit of this. So there will be a stone fence somewhere in here, something like this or whatever. And it's not going to be all the way across, I don't think. There's going to be some broken parts and stuff, I'm sure, in there. And this is either going to be a yard or a field. I haven't decided which, so I could use some ideas. I'm thinking that if I do a yard, I could put the fence here and maybe like the corner of a bombed out house or something there, or I could do it as a field and have like the corner of a bombed out or all torn up barn there. I kind of like the whole idea of the barn, but I want to have enough room because I want to put a tree somewhere. So I'm thinking put a tree here, put something else over here, and then we've got the yard or field, and then your fence, and then your cobblestone road, and your T-35. So now you see why the thumbnail says it's complicated, because now I have to take all of this and make that. So as always, guys, if you like this sort of stuff, don't be afraid. Drop a like and a comment down below. If you're not already, which I don't know why you're not, because, I mean, you're watching the video, consider subscribing. That helps the channel grow, gives me more reason to do stuff like this here, and it's free. It doesn't cost you guys anything. Well, it costs you a notification when I post new videos, but it's not cash. I mean, right? So, down below in the description box is a link to our Discord. It's also free, just like subscribing. Click on it, join up, come in, chit chat with us. More importantly, post pictures of your builds, because we have some amazing builders in there. These guys are badass. I mean, it's just downright, it's awesome. So come in, hang out, post pictures of your builds. I post pictures of my builds from time to time in a channel there too. So yeah, there we go. Subscribing, joining Discord, both of them are free. Doesn't cost you nothing except for a notification. So with that being said, until the next video, guys, I will see you later. Bye-bye.